And now from the WCIA3 Storm Tracker Weather Center, this is your Forecast First.
Good evening. It's a chilly night here in central Illinois, 24 in Champaign, same thing in Danville, 22 in Watsika, 25 in Decatur, and a lot of these temperatures were similar to the lows we had going into this morning. Definitely we're not done tonight with those temperatures dropping, and it also feels colder tonight thanks to the wind. It actually feels like 11 in Bloomington Normal, Pontiac, and actually feels like 12 tonight in Watsika. Springfield's still holding on at 22, not bad, but your temperatures are also a little bit warmer there. Rest of the night, we'll still see some cloud cover, and after midnight, we're going to start to see some scattered snow showers that will continue throughout the day, at least into the flurry activity. Coming up, though, find out who has the best chance for a bit more measurable snowfall than the rest of the viewing area. That is tomorrow's Forecast First.
Now on WCIA3 News.
You heard taxes could go up, but your jaw may just drop when you hear how much lawmakers are talking about now.
Plus, it's Laura Lynn Ryan's dying wish to see her husband. Why this latest request isn't a get-out-of-jail-free card.
And it was lights out at the hall. Why it could be a record-setting night.
You're watching your news leader. This is WCIA3 News at 10.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Roscoe.
And I'm Dave Benton. Get ready to open up your wallet. Taxpayers may have to foot the bill for the state's red ink in a huge way. The governor and other state leaders say they've reached an agreement on a proposal to raise taxes by 75%. WCIA3 Steve Stager has our top story from Springfield tonight. And Steve, we're talking about a lot of money here.
Yeah, Dave, taxpayers are going to have to pay billions. Democratic leaders say it's the only way to save the state's finances, but they're trying to ease the pain by saying that this increase is only going to be temporary.
What we're looking at this point for personal income tax is a 2.25. That's the framework we're starting with. Things could change between now and the time that it actually moves on the floor.
The Democratic proposal would raise the state's income tax rate from 3% to 5.25%, but not all of it would stick around.
The only part of that that would be permanent would be the 0.25% that would be for permanent tax relief, property tax relief.
They say the rate would go down after 4 years. The temporary part of that tax increase would go to paying off the state's backlog of bills. Leaders say it would also be used to help chip away at the $13 billion state deficit.
The notion that you're going to hit working families with a 75% tax increase and make it even harder for them to make ends meet, to save for their child's higher education or to put the roof on their house or things like that, that is incredibly inappropriate at this time.
But the proposal isn't getting much support on the other side of the aisle. Republicans like State Senator Dale Ryder say the state's leaders need to take a look at the budget line by line and make some tough choices.
That's not a sexy process. It doesn't get a lot of headlines. It's not an easy process. It's a time-consuming process. But sooner or later, we're going to wind up doing that.
But Democrats say in the end, everyone needs to support it.
We're going to put something on the table, and we hope that sensible-minded representatives, subsequently sensible-minded senators, will support the bill.
Now, this tax increase will have to pass both legislative bodies. It will go to the House first. We hear they could start debating it as early as Sunday. Dave.
All right, it'll be interesting to follow that debate. Steve, thanks very much. Another tax increase is possible tonight as well. Cigarette
taxes would go up $1 a pack under this new tax proposal. It would bring in about $377 million a year. Lawmakers also passing a Medicaid reform bill. It'll save the state $800 million in the next 5 years. It will limit eligibility for the All Kids program. It'll also require half of Medicaid recipients to be in managed care programs in the next few years. The vote showed overwhelmingly bipartisan support. It's now headed to the governor's desk.
Well, the State House has voted to end the death penalty here in the state. Now, earlier in the day, that proposal fell short by just one vote. But then tonight, lawmakers voted again, and the extra vote came through. One representative from Rock Island changed his vote. Now, state's attorneys and other prosecutors have come out against this bill, but there's still some support for the repeal.
It's a legal system. I don't think it's a justice system anymore. But Illinois is taking the next step to make this a justice system.
There are certain crimes that are so heinous, so premeditated, there is absolutely no question of guilt whatsoever that this is an appropriate punishment.
Now, the bill still has to pass the state Senate. The House, or rather the Senate President, says it could come up for a vote Tuesday.
Now, one U of I law professor is declaring this a big victory. Francis Boyle has dedicated his life to ending the death penalty. Today, he called this a huge step for Illinois. He says it's an idea that started with former Governor George Ryan.
Thanks to Governor Ryan, that the entire country began to look again at the death penalty and realize its injustice, its racism, it's class-based, and it had to go.
Ryan placed a moratorium on the death penalty in 2000. It was the first action like it in the country. Boyle nominated Ryan for the Nobel Peace Prize countless times. Now, he never won, but now the former governor's focus is winning a different decision. George Ryan is hoping to be released from prison to see his dying wife. WCIA3's Ashley Sears is here, and so how is this different from last time when he wanted to do this?
Well, Jennifer, this time he's not asking for his sentence to be shortened, but what he wants is to be released on a furlough basis. Basically, he'd spend the day with his wife and his nights back in a Kankakee jail. It's a wish the Ryans hope is granted, but not everyone in Illinois agrees.
I love him and miss him with all my heart, and I want him to please come home soon.
It's a dying wish from Laura Lynn Ryan. This interview was done before she was hospitalized, but the plea is still there.
Her one hope is that her husband can come to her bedside.
George Ryan's lawyers want him released from his prison in Terre Haute so he can visit his wife at this Kankakee hospital.
And she has been undergoing radiation and chemotherapy even at her age in what I regard as a sort of desperate attempt to stay alive to see her husband.
Allowing federal inmates to leave their cells and visit a dying relative is not uncommon, but letting them leave for more than one day is. Some see it as the right thing.
Well, I think he should be allowed. I think that's the human thing to do. For the family's sake and for her sake, it's really compassion for her rather than compassion for him.
Others say it's special treatment.
He gave up those rights the day he broke the law.
A judge will make the call Friday, and Laura Lynn Ryan will be fighting to hang on.
One day, we will be back together the way we should be.
Now we're told the Kankakee jail has set up a cell in case Ryan does leave his prison in Terre Haute. A decision should be made tomorrow. Jennifer.
All right, thank you, Ashley. Now, Ryan can be released two ways. One is through the appellate court. A judge would let him leave prison on bail. The other is through the Bureau of Prisons policy. The warden would have the ultimate say. Ryan is halfway through his 6.5-year sentence. So should Ryan be allowed to see his wife? Let us know what you think. Vote in our poll at IllinoisHomepage.net. We will bring you the results at the end of this newscast.
2 Urbana children watched as police raided their home for drugs. New tonight at 10, these 2 Urbana men are behind bars tonight. Earl Orr was arrested for possession and intent to deliver. Henry Randall is in jail for unlawful use of a building. Police raided the home in the 1100 block of Florida Avenue last night. They found more than 70 grams of crack cocaine, drug equipment, and $4,500. They also noticed a small amount of marijuana. Well, it's a sale that's bringing hundreds of people to Piatt County, but neighbors want it shut down. WCIA3's Cynthia Schweigert has this story tonight. And Cynthia, what's the problem here?
Well, Dave, picture this. You could call it a massive garage sale. Semis come in, they're filled with stuff like jeans and makeups. Then cars crowd the roads, people all over the place looking for a bargain. The guy running it out of his warehouse near White Heath calls it just that, a garage sale. He does it once a month, but neighbors say, no way, this is a business. The owner is willing to make it legitimate and get a permit, but the people around there don't even want that. They want his shop closed and peace and quiet back. Jim Naylor just doesn't get it.
Very frustrating. You know, we feel that this is a need for the community and the surrounding communities. It's a place to come where you can shop and not only get good deals, but get good quality products that you might not be able to afford at the store.
People in charge of zoning for Piatt County have voted down the permit for Barnyard Treasures. That's what Naylor calls his business. But that doesn't mean it's over. The issue is going before the full county board on Wednesday morning. Dave.
All right, Cynthia, thanks very much. And there's another twist. In Piatt County, there are no restrictions on how many garage sales you can have. That means Barnyard Treasures could stay open even if it doesn't get a permit. The state's attorney might have to decide whether that sale is a business if somebody tries to shut it down.
And And a Piatt County community is planning for the future. We'll show you how they're establishing the foundation now.
And also tonight, could today's plane crash in Springfield be enough to keep a fighter wing? What some are saying tonight.
Plus, sick of paying full price for stuff. We're going to introduce you to one woman who can help you save.
And she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm perfect."
You bet he's perfect, and he's laughing all the way to the bank. But this Mega Million winner had a really funny reaction when he first found out that he had won. You're going to hear that a little later.
Live from your news leader, Jennifer Roscoe, Dave Benton, meteorologist Jennifer Gatchmark with Storm Tracker weather, and Aaron Bennett on sports. You're watching WCIA3 News at 10. The news continues here on WCIA3 News, your news leader.
The 183rd Fighter Wing was the first to be on the scene of a plane crash in Springfield today.
6 people were on that private jet. It was flying from Chicago to Springfield. Crew members had minor injuries. Everybody else is okay. The Fighter Wing was the first one on the scene, but their services may not be available for much longer. Sergeant John Ring says he and his men want to stay and proved why today.
We have a lot of pride in what we do. The airflying public comes first to us. I think we proved a great example today of what we can do.
Federal contract that funds the crew will expire this fall. That means there will not be around-the-clock support at the airport. 3 other planes have gone down in the past few months in the area. A Decatur man was killed in a crash December 2nd after flying a plane he built. A Jacksonville man died after a crash in a Chicago suburb. And a U of I student pilot made an emergency landing in October. Luckily, he wasn't hurt.
Decatur police have some new faces on the force. 3 patrol officers sworn in today. They're working to reach their maximum of 164 authorized officers. Right now they're at 158. Now one of the men says he's always dreamed about becoming an officer.
A career in law enforcement encompasses a lot of things I look for in a career, which is first and foremost the opportunity to do something good and make a difference, make an impact in a community.
The 2 of the officers will start at the U of I Police Training Institute on Sunday. That training lasts 14 weeks.
All right, and we are back in the deep freeze.
It's chilly.
It is chilly outside. It'd be nice to have a little bit of a break, but it's going to be a while. I'm sorry. Here's a live look outside through our Champaign Skycam. I hate delivering bad news. It is still cloudy outside. Springfield is at 30. Now, that temperature is actually not too bad for right now. It feels like 22, and up next, breaking down snow later on tonight and tomorrow, and then how cold it's going to be for the weekend.